From Brunswick, West Creek Lanes in Fort Worth, Texas, it's the fourth of 6 women's division qualifiers of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. A great crowd is assembled here in the Lone Star State to watch the Brunswick World Team Challenge. We're all set for the finals. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dave Armstrong along with Jan Schmidt. And Jan, this is going to be an exciting finals. Dead Ringers, our third-place qualifier, they come in certainly with the most experience.
They do, Dave, and that experience comes in the form of tour stars Cathy Dorin and Carolyn Dorin-Ballard and Pat's veteran Lynda Wagner. What a wealth of TV experience. But one of the things that impressed me the most about this team is how they were able to read off each other. The communication was great, and they were able to line each other up from pair to pair. So I think if one person gets in trouble tonight, the rest of the team can help pull them through. In this first match, they will meet Astro Bowl, a team formed with a lot of former collegiate bowlers, so they certainly are used to this Baker format. And that's a big plus for them to be experienced in Baker's system. But the one thing they're lacking is the TV experience. They have a very limited amount. So I think the key for them today will be to forget about the cameras and forget about the lights if possible and just execute. Now, Team Brunswick in first place, they certainly have to be the sentimental favorite with their captain, Marci Williams. Well, Marci has bowled in every Team Challenge event except one. This is her 6th personal appearance on the Team Challenge finals without a win. But I'll tell you, Dave, they changed the rules. If you win a Team Challenge event, you can't bowl in anymore that year. And Marci told me right before the show, this is my last one because I'm winning tonight. All right, we'll see if that happens. They're waiting in the wings, and we'll have our first semifinal match coming up from Fort Worth, Texas in just a moment. American Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Lynn Shoes. For the performance approach, it's American-made Lynn Shoes, the choice of top professionals and amateurs alike. And by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. Ringers and Astro Bowl. It'll be Dead Ringers to start. Over on the left lane, Debbie Berry to lead off. You see the number 16 on her shirt. That signifies that she will bowl in the first and 6th frames. And if there's number 27, it's the 2nd and 7th, etc. It's the Baker format, a 2-game match, total pins wins. And a great start for Dead Ringers. Wow, what a great opening shot by Debbie Berry. She is the only one on their team with no television experience. That was her first shot ever on television. Boy, it looked like an experienced pro there. Now for Astro Bowl, Allison Allbang. Allison, a 2-time collegiate All-American. Got that one a little bit out of bounds. And Allison with just a little bit of TV experience 1 year in the collegiate TV finals. 1-2-4-7. You just want to cover this with a ball, right? You want to hit exactly to the left of the headpin with the ball, and the ball will hook and continue on down the line. So on that position round, it was Astro Bowl who came up to win. Well, she didn't get it over on the left side of the headpin, and unopened to start things off for Astro Bowl. Astro Bowl won that head-to-head matchup in the position round. It was interesting, too. These two teams were 3rd and 4th. In the 2nd place team, well, they went all the way from 2nd to 4th. Sent that shot a little bit wide. What's so hard about this format, Dave, is, as you mentioned, they only get 2 shots per game. So it's really hard to get comfortable on the lanes. They did just come off. They warmed up on this pair, so they should be a little familiar with what the lanes are doing. We had a power outage here in Fort Worth, not just at this bowling center, but throughout this whole area. And so we had about a 2-hour delay in getting things started. And they might all be just a little bit chilly as we get things started. Let's take a look at the Contour Power Grip starting lineup for Astro Bowl. We already saw Allmang. Then she's followed by Andrea Fleming, Linda Urbanek, Karen Stroud, and Rachel Perez, a pro bowler. More pros choose Contour Power Grips. You should too. Fleming working on the open. Nice shot by Andrea, coming in light. Interesting note, Andrea's husband Paul also made the finals here and will be bowling a little bit later. Could be a big payday in the Fleming household. And now the former pro, Lynda Wagner.
mixes them around but cannot get the 7-pin to go down.
Now these players have been bowling all day in the Baker system, and so the lanes they were bowling on were hooking quite a bit in the middle. These are freshly conditioned. They look a little bit tighter than what they were bowling on. The balls are sliding a little longer.
Leila saying that she now works for Gold's Gym in her hometown of Annapolis, Maryland, and is a fitness coordinator.
She has really gotten into the working out. And very strong.
Oh, a spare for Leila. Chance to take an 11-pin lead if Urbanek can strike here and double up. Just a little bit high.
Yeah, she missed a little bit left of her target. It actually looked as if she stuck a bit and leaned forward with that shot.
Urbanek owns 7 Southwest Regional LPBT titles.
Now, Linda used to bowl out on the national tour several years back. It's been quite a while since she's been out there.
You could say she comes from a humble town, Humble, Texas. Let's take a look at the Contour Power Grip starting lineup for Dead Ringers. We've already seen Barry, Rutledge, and Wagner. Now the 2 professionals, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, followed by her sister, Cathy Dorin. They're getting into it now, aren't they? Make it a good one, and she certainly did.
That 7-pin fell pretty late. You know, Carolyn is thinking this power outage we had might be a good omen for her because
look how chilly they all are. They're all bundled up in jackets. It's not that cold, but you know, when you only bowl 2 frames, it's hard to keep warm.
That's exactly it. It is hard to loosen up.
It's like the baseball pitcher coming in after loosening up, right?
And they put on a warm-up jacket even though it may be 75 degrees outside. I finish up that story quick on Carolyn. She had won her first title, her first singles title in Columbia, Tennessee in '94. We had a power outage, an ice storm, and like a 5 or 6 hour delay, and she wound up winning. So she was hoping this was a good omen for her team.
Aaron Stroud trying to cover the spare. Look out. Oh, got that one. How'd they qualify for this finals?
There's a good look at the score. We're now a 2-pin lead for Dead Ringers. Dave, they bowled 2 3-game sets, full games, where all 5 teams, just like you bowl a 5-man league, they all bowled full games of bowling, and it was the 6-game total that qualified them. The top 10 teams went on to bowl Baker system.
The earlier qualifying for the ladies came at Don Carter Bowl here in the Fort Worth area, and then all the Baker format was bowled here at West Creek this morning.
So they've had to make several adjustments with the qualifying on 1 condition, 1 set of lanes, the match play on another set, and now we're actually on a whole other pair of lanes. They didn't bowl on this pair this morning at all. Cathy walked over to get a spare ball. She's using a harder surface ball to shoot at this 10-pin, so it won't hook.
And a good cover. So a 2-pin lead now for Dead Ringers. Oh, Rachel Perez. She has a WIBC doubles title to her credit, along with 4 Southwest Regional titles. And a little bit high.
Fortunate to break up, no split there, so she'll be able to just convert the spare.
Covers the mark, but a 4-pin lead now for Dead Ringers as we step aside for just a moment. We'll be back. Second time through now for Dead Ringers. Debbie Berry, she struck her first time up. Crossing over and leaves a couple of pins out there, the 5-9.
She should be able to convert this. Looks a little bit nervous. She's trying to get around. I think they're trying to loosen her up in the background there.
The oldest member of this team, we won't say how old, but she does own 3 LPBT regional titles. Not textbook, but it got the job done. Now back to Allison Allmang. She left the Open her first time up. Remember, she had the 1-2-4-7 and kept it to the right side of the head pin.
Let's see what kind of move she makes here. She's going to keep the ball in much tighter there.
Ooh, difficult split now.
Ball just a little bit too high on the head pin. Unfortunate break, though. She could have gotten away with a 1-pin leave, but now she'll have to get the ball to the left of the 4-pin and try to slide the 4 into the 9.
Very similar to the 5-10, isn't it? I mean, same spacing. But she can't convert, and now Allison Allmang with 2 open frames. That'll bring up Eleanor Rutledge. 16-pin lead now for Dead Ringers. Remember, it's a 2-game total pins. Ooh, got the pin action that time.
Ooh, what a kick on the 7-pin.
Let's take a look at some statistics from the tournament. Leisure Rec and Entertainment had 11-16. Boy, some of these scores were impressive. And see Team Brunswick, they're a top qualifier. They had 2 of the top finishers. And our congratulations to Miss Duplantis with the 300.
Andrew Fleming coming high with that shot. They're all still trying to adjust, and what's so difficult here, Dave, is now after 2 shots, now they'll say, okay, it's in between those 2, and now they're going to move to the other lane next game.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're going to start all over.
It's important, though, for you while you're sitting there to watch the other lane as well as your own. Wow, very well converted.
One thing these players will do as they switch lanes, as you mentioned, watching the other lane, you're going to see how the other team, what their ball does on the other lane, and you'll get a read for how much one lane is hooking or not hooking.
You don't get the same sense because maybe you don't know the style of that bowler and how hard they throw a ball, but you still get some sort of a read off of it. Leila Wagner trying to cross over, leaving the 5-pin. Leila, her first time up, had a 9 and a spare. One of the easier spares here, isn't it? The 5-pin.
It should be.
What's the easiest spare? The head pin? You don't want to leave a head pin, but
probably the 5-pin. I'm sure it is the easiest. And you always hear the saying, no one misses a 5-pin, but occasionally it does happen.
I must be no one, because I have. Linda Urbanek now. Linda with a spare her first time up, with her team trailing by 16.
Don't forget, it's a 2-game match, though, so they will carry these pins over and add a second game onto it.
And they try to simulate the conditions on both lanes, but sometimes the conditions alter just a little bit.
They do, and it depends on who bowled the most, where the players play during warm-up, because the conditioner carries down. Now you've had one team playing on the left lane and one on the right the entire game, so it changed the condition a bit since they were on it last.
Hurry up. All right.
Whoa.
She was saying the same thing. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Get there. 17-pin lead for Dead Ringers. Let's take a look at some other stats from this week. We've already seen the high games. High series. Lynda Norry was on Team Brunswick. Duplantis, we talked about her 300 game. Norry averaged 235 in the qualifying. Isn't that something?
That's amazing. On the condition that was out there, they tell me it was awfully difficult.
Back-to-back strikes for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. She struck in the 4th and 9th frames. Now Karen Stroud will try to set things up for Astro Bowl. The team trailing by 17 right now.
Karen is the one on their team with no TV experience. She went to West Texas State, but never had any television experience.
Good shot there, but leaving the 10 pin. She was the 96 Collegiate International Bowling Champion MVP.
This group of players, how they know each other, well, they're all from the Texas State, but they knew each other from bowling the regional program. The Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour regional tournaments.
Well, they've made a very nice team indeed. A chance now for Cathy if she strikes out to finish with a 206, working on a strike from the 9th.
This team only averaged 176.4 during the Baker matches, which is low for the ability of the team, but the conditions were tough.
And again, these being professional bowlers are not used to this Baker format, so it had to be a little different for them to try to adjust to it.
It is not only it's a different type of pressure when you have 4 other people relying on you. Plus, as we mentioned earlier, the amount of time between shots is something that the professionals are not used to. Choosing to shoot that with a spare ball so she could go straight at it.
One thing for sure, Dead Ringers will have a lead after game 1. We don't know how big that lead will be. Right now it's 17. Chance for Rachel Perez to cut into that lead just a little bit in the 10th. That will make the lead a little bit less, leaving 4. And a 182 finish for Dead Ringers.
Dave, you might wonder where the name Dead Ringers came from. This team is actually sponsored by Walter Ray Williams. Deadeye.
Yeah, Walter Ray.
The winningest, top money winner on the men's tour.
He's also into horseshoeing, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
There's another chance for the Dead Ringer to come in. Well, 8 there, and a 166 possible now for Astro Bowl with a spare and a strike finish. So best case scenario, Astro Bowl will trail by 16 going into the finals. Into that final game, I should say.
Rachel covers it up. She's going to try to get as many pins as she can here and keep it close.
Don't forget Team Brunswick hanging around the top qualifier. Marci Williams, their team captain, as Jan has said, has tried and tried and tried again to get to the Grand Championships. Will this be the time? Well, we'll find out. We'll be back with game 2 of our semifinal match from West Creek Lanes in Fort Worth in just a moment. Match, Astro Bowl up first. They trail by 16.
Astro Bowl wanted to make sure they thank their sponsor, which is Astro Bowl, Jim Costello, and thanks to Ed Herndon for his sponsorship.
Allison, so glad to see that 5-pin disappear. She had 2 open frames in the first game.
She'll be pleased just to convert this spare.
Get on the board. And the fine bowlers for Gordon Vatican at Wichita State. And there's an opening mark for Astro Bowl.
And she can breathe a sigh of relief now. I can't tell you how difficult it is at bowl team events, and it's tough. You know they're all counting on you, and when things don't go right.
Tougher than bowling for yourself, huh?
I believe it is. To me, it's more pressure because if you let yourself down, you can just handle it. But when you let other people down, it's tough.
A little bit high on the head pin is Debbie Berry. Now she has the 3-6-10.
Now we're going to see the transition and how the opposite lanes are playing.
Debbie has thrown 300 games in her lifetime. How about our man from Nebraska? Ooh, an open frame, and that'll open the door for Astro Bowl. How about that 900 series? Wasn't that something? 4th place, James Vickery. They were the team that dropped from 2nd to 4th. But tough luck, and it'll be a long drive back to Memphis. And from San Antonio, in 6th place was Leisure Rec and Entertainment.
And all those teams were really close, Dave, through all the final rounds of match play. It was anyone's game from 2nd through 6th. Now that
in 7th place, Lynn's On Track Pro Shop out of Minneapolis. Vice Crip out of Houston. They finished 8th. In 9th place, Jimmy's Diner from Wichita. So just not only 1, but 2 entries from Wichita, including Team Brunswick.
And stringing strikes was 10.
A spare start for Astro Bowl. They've cut into that lead. It's now just 7 for Dead Ringers.
Well, we've seen Astro Bowl, both players come light on lane 9, and so far on lane 10 for Dead Ringers, she was high, so maybe lane 10 is hooking a bit more.
That was a good shot, but again, couldn't get that 7-pin to go down. Well, there's Shannon Duplantis with that 300. Perfect game. We congratulate her. And there's our man from Nebraska, a 900 series, Jeremy Sonnefeld.
Incredible, and they said he did it. He moved pairs each game. He didn't stay on one pair for that.
Isn't that incredible? How many 300s in your lifetime?
4. I have
4.
Only 4.
Well, that's good, though. That's a lot.
But it took many years to get those 4.
You didn't get them 3 in a row, did
No.
you? Linda Urbanek now.
How about you, Dave? How many for you?
None. I'm still working at it. I'm one of many bowlers still working at that. Well, Astro Bowl, they've gotten up off the deck now, haven't they? They're making a push here, trailing by just 7. Leila Wagner now will try to keep Dead Ringers in front.
I hear you shot a 269.
I did my last game. The last game I bowled, I haven't bowled since. It's been a year. I'm afraid to bowl again. Uh-oh, got the dangerous sleeper back there.
She missed left quite a bit on that shot. The ball was really never right in the head pin. This could be a really tough spare because there's that out of bounds to the right. If she hits the ball to the right, it's going to slide, and if she tries to keep it left, it's going to hook.
It's an important shot. Uh-oh, look out.
Exactly.
That's exactly what happened. Got it out of bounds, and an open frame will put Astro Bowl in the lead by 6 as we head to break. We'll come back to West Creek Lanes in Fort Worth in just a moment. The scoreboard finds Astro Bowl still in front by 6. A spare in the 4th for Astro Bowl. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard with a strike, her 3rd straight for Dead Ringers. Now Rachel Perez. Ooh, boy, that's as good a shot as you could throw.
Ring and 10, 6-pin wrapped around the 10. Strikes are hard to come by here. It's unfortunate that you can't carry when you do make a really good shot. This team only having 3 strikes so far, and they are in the lead. Dead Ringers now actually has 5.
And 3 of those by Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. During that power outage, they painted that pin. Rachel Perez barely slides it over.
That's as close as you can get without missing that spare.
Well, a chance now for Cathy to put her team back in front with a strike here to double up. Cathy, very familiar with West Texas State University. She was a member of their '87 national champion team.
Back up the approach. Something happening down the lane there. I'm sure they won't count that. There is a shot clock on these players, 25 seconds.
Yeah, but a light went off in the back, and that's what happened.
So that won't count against her.
Hurry, hurry. No, just a little bit high, and leaving the 4.
Almost tripped it. A pin rolled around, too, and almost caught the back of the 4 pin.
Pretty tense here. This match has been very close throughout. I think 16 has been the biggest lead, maybe 17 for either team. You go down to the final 5 frames with a 5-pin differential. That's about as good as you can get. And that's exactly what we have.
It's going to come down to who got the best read off of their first shot they made on this lane and who can execute.
Once again, Shannon Duplantis, a $1,000 bonus for the Lynn's perfect game. A 300. Elaine Hagan, our WIBC Vice President, on there to present the check. Right through the nose, and maybe lucky to leave just the 3-6.
Right now, they're all just trying to hang on. I'm sure all of you have bowled on challenging conditions before, and right now there's not a lot of area. They have a long time between shots and not much time to line up with only 2 shots a game. So it's tough. You have to really stay together as a team. You have to support each other even though you may be down. You know, one person's bowling bad, the rest of the team has to stay up.
Good cover there for Allison. So after opening with the first 2 shots, first 2 frames in the first game, a spare here in the second. Now Debbie Berry. Her team down by just 3 now.
Looks good.
Ooh, that does look good. That's a great looking shot for Debbie Berry. And we go to a break. Dead Ringers hanging in there. They're down by 3 right now. Ringers has moved in front by 7 with that double. Each team striking in the 7th frame. Things are getting very interesting coming down the stretch.
Good shot right now. So critical.
Linda Urbanek with a strike, but her team seesawing back in front. Gotta hurry. Nope.
She's playing very close to that out of bounds area. And if she misses just a little bit right, the ball has no chance to react. Now she has to be careful going at this spare, because if she gets it into that middle of the lane too soon, it's going to hook. If she tries to go up in the area she's playing, it might not hook enough.
That's a good shot. Now a lot of pressure on. A good spare there for Linda Urbanek. And now Leila Wagner. Working on 2 strikes. Boy, a strike here, and you'd think Dead Ringers would be in charge. Not only would they lead by 17, but Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, who has struck 3 times, would be up next. Wow, is that a clutch shot? 17-pin lead now for Dead Ringers. They've come on strong. 3 strikes in a row.
Well, Leila's had a lot of TV experience. Look at this shot. Beautiful, keeping it dead on line. Hitting flush in the pocket, slapping out the 10-pin.
Now the pressure on Karen Stroud. Again, got it a little bit out of bounds. Ooh, a tough spare here.
It's a washout. She's going to need to hit the left of the head pin with the ball, slide the head pin over into the 10 and let the ball take out the 2 and 4. She really needs to convert this. It's a must spare at this point.
Would you adjust how you're attacking the pocket the way the conditions look right now? I mean, look like they're coming in from the outside quite a bit.
They need to move deeper left and get into that dry portion, because right now they have no mistake area right.
Well, a costly open frame, and that means that Dead Ringers has a 34-pin lead.
And Carolyn Dorin, as you mentioned, had struck 3 consecutive times now when she gets lined up. She's tough in qualifying. All 6 of her games were over 200.
Going to hurry, and it got there, but left the 5. Cathy saying, all right, that's okay. Good shot, good shot. Go get the 5.
They're all happy that the 4 and 7 fell. Ball finished a little bit weak.
Spare here, and that'll about wrap it up for Dead Ringers. So Ringers, Dead Ringers is going to move on into the finals to face Team Brunswick. Rachel Perez, even if she strikes out, would give them a 188 total in this game after a 166 in the first game. Dead Ringers working on close to a 200 pace.
They just never, Astro Bowl just never was able to get lined up on lane 9 at all, really lane 10 either.
And it was the difference was Dead Ringers in the 6th, 7th, and 8th frames. That turkey, and that put them comfortably in front.
As I mentioned, Dave, they were able to adjust off of their first shot on that lane. They made the move and they executed.
Well, they didn't take as wide an angle at the pocket, and that really proved to be the difference. And the experience you talked about on the Open for Dead Ringers, how they learned from each other.
They were constantly talking. I can't emphasize how important that is in a team event, to be able to communicate.
Rachel closes out with a bucket and a 174 finish. Well, we'll be in Indianapolis in just a couple of weeks, and then June 28th and 29th in Baltimore at the Perry Hall lanes. If you would like to enter a team in the Brunswick World Team Challenge, call us at 414-423-3387.
Come on out, ladies, and bowl.
Now Cathy Dorin, just a little extra added measure. So we'll be back with Around the Bowling World. Dead Ringers, they're moving on to the finals to face Team Brunswick.
Now it's time to go around the bowling world. Brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas. President Bill Clinton recently recognized the Bowlers Victory Legion. The BVL Fund raised almost $1 million last season for our nation's veterans. Around the Bowling World takes a look at the BVL Fund.
More than 50 years ago, America's bowlers made a promise to our nation's veterans. We will not forget you. Today, through the BVL Fund, we're still there to offer the fun of healthy competition, to support therapy programs, to brighten the days and warm the nights during recuperation, and to offer a helping hand. Our programs provide the therapeutic and recreational extras which heal the body and the soul. Studies show that through recreational therapy, our veterans are healthier, happier, and quicker to rejoin their community as a contributor. Today, the need for BVL support is greater than ever, with the veteran population reaching 26 million. Today's veteran population is changing, however. The type of care and services needed by our younger heroes is often dramatically different than our World War II vets. BVL is even more critical for these veterans, many of whom, sadly, have been forgotten by our nation. Thanks to BVL, we can show them we care through programs to lighten the spirit, raise self-esteem, and allow them to once again enjoy healthy bodies and minds. For these efforts, the BVL Fund has been recognized throughout the years by presidents, veterans leaders, and most of all by veterans themselves as an important part of their continuing care. Today we urge you to recognize the BVL Fund too by giving generously during your association drive, by participating in the BVL programs, and by remembering that promise we made to all our veterans so long ago. We won't forget you.
For more information about the BVL Fund, call Helene Phillips at 301 881-8333. Around the Bowling World has been brought to you by the High Roller Tournaments. Call 800-257-6179 for information on how to enter. The Brunswick World Team Challenge from Brunswick West Creek Lanes in Fort Worth, Texas returns with our championship match after these messages.
Dead Ringers with the win in the first semifinal match, so now they meet Team Brunswick, the top qualifier. Debbie Berry to start things off for Dead Ringers. You see, they won easily over Astro Bowl, putting on a strong finish. It was within 5 pins going down to the final 5 frames, but they win it by 47. A little bit high, and leaving the 6-10.
And now they're back on lane 9, which is where they started the first match. They just came off of lane 10. They did not receive warm-ups on 9 and 10. Brunswick came on, and they were allowed to warm up on lanes 9 and 10. Dead Ringers had to go over to lane 8 or 7 and 8, and they could just throw warm-up shots there.
That's a good strategy by Team Brunswick to make them change lanes again and not stay over on the right side where they were comfortable.
They were really lined up.
Ooh, chopping the 10-pin and an open frame for Dead Ringers. Now Marci Williams. Has anyone tried any harder to obtain a goal than Marci?
I'm sure no one has. She is so dedicated to this. People love having her on the team because she calls herself the comic relief, but she relaxes the entire team.
Just wouldn't come in for it. Stayed out to the right of the head pin. Let's take a look at Contour Power Grip starting lineup for Team Brunswick. You see Marci Williams, their captain, Cindy Kesterson, Jody Jensen, Debbie Walker, and Lynda Norry.
Perez sisters on this team too, Dave. Jody Jensen and Debbie Walker.
And Marci starts off with a spare, so her team right away in front. Now Eleanor Rutledge. You could almost feel the crowd sort of pulling for Team Brunswick just a little bit, even though they're from Wichita and Dead Ringers from the team from Texas. Certainly the sentimental favorite, Team Brunswick. The 6th time that Marci has been in the finals.
That was a real nice shot.
There's Terry McCluskey, manager here at Brunswick West Creek. We thank her and her staff for all their wonderful assistance. Even with the power outage, they were working feverishly to work with the city officials to get the power turned back on and get us back bowling again.
Eleanor went and took a spare ball.
Back-to-back open frames for Dead Ringers. Maybe they're feeling the pressure a little bit.
I was mentioning she took that spare ball so it wouldn't hook. She could go straight at it. Unfortunately, didn't get it across the lane enough.
Cindy Kesterson, they picked her up from Iowa. Pretty good addition.
Real nice. She has a pretty nice ball reaction. It looks like on the left side of the lane, they're able to play a little bit farther out and get ball reaction.
Already a 22-pin deficit for Dead Ringers and Leila Wagner. Well, it came in a little bit high.
Okay, she says, okay, broke it up. I'm going to shoot the spare and get my team on the board here. If you like bowling team events, I hope you're entered in the 1997 WIBC tournament. It begins on March 1st at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. There are 16,700 women's teams.
Wow,
That
that's great.
computes to 83,500 bowlers.
That's terrific. Starts when? March 1st?
March 1st.
Great. Strike here puts them in front by 32. A 32-pin lead for Team Brunswick. Well, is this the time Team Brunswick does it? Well, right now they're comfortably ahead after just 3 frames, leading it by 32.
Catch the maximum excitement.
Well, here are some of the members of the Fort Worth Bowlers Association on hand here to watch our Brunswick World Team Challenge. We're on hand here. Great support for women's team bowling here in the Fort Worth area. Now, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. She was the anchor of the rock for Dead Ringers in the first match. 3 strikes out of 4. They need a strike here to get going. And again, got it a little bit wide and out of bounds.
Never flipped. I thought that was a good shot, Dave. It looked like it, but maybe she didn't quite catch it with her fingers. Didn't get the roll, early enough roll that she wanted. Also changing balls. When the lanes are as touchy as they are right now, the conditioner, it's wise to use a spare ball for any spare. Go straight at it, especially a single pin spare.
And well done by Carolyn. A chance for the turkey now for Team Brunswick, and if Debbie Walker can convert here, it'd be a 43-pin lead. Ooh, wow. They are on fire here.
Nice shot.
Team Brunswick now on top by 43.
Wow. They're coming out and commanding this just like they did all day. They were on top the entire time.
You know, interestingly, Marci was asking everyone around for some advice on how to get going, how to get over the hump. And most people are telling, just stay aggressive, be aggressive, act like you want to take charge. Don't wait for the other team to do something. Do it yourselves, and that's exactly what Team Brunswick has done so far.
Cathy Dorin going over to get her spare ball, leaving the 3-6-10 here. She wants the ball to slide. She's hoping the ball will hit all 3 pins.
Sylvia Broyles, WIBC Vice President, down here in Texas, watching the action. Ooh, another open frame for Dead Ringers. That's their 3rd in 5 frames.
Tough beginning, but as we mentioned, with the experience they have, I'm sure they'll get it together and at least make a run for it.
Not to mention having to change lanes. Elaine Hagan on hand again. Elaine has been to every women's Brunswick World Team Challenge.
Lynda Norry going wide there, missing the head pin.
So Lynda Norry now going over to get her spare ball.
And you might think it's unusual to shoot a spare with double wood or a pin behind with your spare ball, but as I said before, this is tough to get to the left side of the head pin here. That's the safest way to do it.
Yep. And a mark for Team Brunswick. They lead by 54 right now. Boy, a commanding lead after just 5 frames. If you're Team Brunswick and you've been waiting so long for this championship, Lynda Norry was on Team USA a couple of times, but she's also bowled for this Team Brunswick squad. Boy, you couldn't have hoped for any better start than this. Not only good bowling by Team Brunswick with 3 consecutive strikes and 5 marks overall in 5 frames, but 3 open frames for Dead Ringers.
Same spare we just saw Cathy Dorin leave.
Here's Dan Kilpatrick, Brunswick South Regional Vice President. Dan just added the Lone Star State to his territory, working out of Atlanta, Georgia. So good to have him on hand here in Fort Worth.
Okay, and Dead Ringers said, okay, now we have a mark starting the second half of this game. Something to work on.
Let's go from here now. Get to the right side of the head pin, hit it right through the nose, and maybe a little fortunate to go with just the 610.
She said, okay, I'll be happy to shoot that spare.
Marci, just a league bowler. She's not a professional, but where she has been to almost every World Team Challenge event. Almost every one.
You know, if you're at home wondering how you put a team together for this team right here, Team Brunswick, 4 of them actually bowl on the same league team at home.
There's Dan Everts, our assistant manager at Brunswick West Creek. He's put in a lot of hours. Now we've got a break as Team Brunswick still comfortably in front by 52 pins after 6 frames. Well, Team Brunswick had their lead cut into just a little bit by dead ringers with a spare in the 7th, while Team Brunswick with an open frame, their first of the match. Now Lynda Wagner working on the spare. Team trailing by 36.
And the 3 players I talked about with all of the experience, they need them right now.
Oh, boy. Well, it's tough once you get it out there to get it back in, isn't it?
It is. When the ball hits the conditioner, it just slides.
No strikes yet for dead ringers in this game. In that first match, they had 3 opens the entire match. And they've had 3 opens in this game so far through 8 frames.
It's on the same pair of lanes that they just bowled on.
Now, Jody Jensen. Had a strike her first time up and almost got another one.
It's a nice shot.
Ooh, she almost fell over. Did not foul. Somehow able to knock over the 10 pin. Well, Sylvia Broyles was on hand to hand out the Earl Anthony Bud Light MVP award given to Leanne Barrett. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard accepted it on Leanne's behalf and said she would take it to Leanne at a pro tournament coming up in Lubbock, Texas. So Leanne with outstanding play last year in the Grand Championships, the Bud Light MVP. Ooh, good shot for Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, but maybe a little high and leaving the 4.
Carolyn's not happy.
I want to remind you that the high score bonus brought to you by the High Roller Tournament Series. Both teams eligible to receive a $500 bonus for any TV Baker game of 240 or better, or a 2-game Baker series of 450 or better.
Well, this dead ringer team is going to have to dig down and try to find one of those 240 games.
Yeah, Debbie Walker. She had a strike her first time up. 37 pins, the lead for Team Brunswick. Boy, she has thrown 2 great shots. .39 pins, the lead for Team Brunswick as we go into that 10th frame. But with that strike in the 9th for Team Brunswick, they have a chance to really extend the lead. So it'll be up to Cathy Dorin to try to keep it close.
Boy, that lane looks really tough out there right now. Anytime they hit a little bit left, they try to move everything left. The lane just hooks. And when they try to project the ball to the right, they hit that conditioner, and it just slides.
So even though there's a 39 pin lead for Team Brunswick, who's in the driver's seat? I mean, you don't know right now.
I don't know. It'll be tough when they move lanes. However, you have to remember there are 2 left-handers on Team Brunswick, so they aren't going to be playing on the same condition as the right-handers are. I don't know what it'll be like for them on the other lane because I have nothing to judge off of right now.
Well, you never miss a 5 pin, right? And Cathy Dorin didn't, although she made it exciting. No, a strike here would give them a 158. Now Lynda Norry thinking, if I can strike out, we can bowl at 218. So even with that 158 now, for dead ringers, it could be a 60-pin advantage for Team Brunswick. That's a lot to make up.
That would be huge. This is a big shot right here for Linda. Linda did have the high qualifying averages we saw before, 235.5, so we know she's throwing some strikes out there.
Crossing over and leaving the 3-pin.
Fortunate to kick out the 10.
Mm-hmm. With a spare here and then a strike, it would be a 40-pin lead for Team Brunswick. There's the spare. Well, it's going to be somewhere in the high 30s or around 40 pins, the lead for Team Brunswick heading into the final game.
It'll be very interesting, Dave, to see how, when they switch over, see how Team Brunswick handles that left-hand lane.
Well, it's a 40-pin lead. A 198 start for Team Brunswick. Remember, they're still eligible for that high roller tournament series. We'll be back with a final game in a moment. Game looking for their first championship, leading by 40 pins.
And they're no stranger to the lead, Dave. They took the lead after 3 games of qualifying. They were up by 121 pins after back-to-back games of 11:04 and 11:05. And they held on to the lead, so let's see if they continue that.
Remember, too, those dead ringers rolled a 205 on the right lane in the semifinal match.
If the lane condition hasn't changed a lot on lane 10 and they can get up and be lined up immediately, they could shoot a huge game.
Yeah, they could. And a good start for Team Brunswick. Their thought is, well, let's keep the pressure on, fill the frames, and make sure dead ringers can't get up off the mat. Here's Debbie Berry. That's a good start.
That looks like they may be lined up over here.
Mm-hmm. That's their first strike of this final match.
Not able to throw any strikes on lane 9.
A little hop step in the approach, but it works as she crosses over. Cindy Kesterson with the strike there. Now here's Eleanor Rutledge. The double up for her team to within 30.
If any of you ladies are thinking about still bowling the Queens event, May 13th through the 17th, make sure you sign up. They're not closing out entries. There'll be no limit, and it's a guaranteed prize fund.
Oh, we could be in for an exciting final game here as dead ringers with back-to-back strikes. The lead now 30. It can go back to 40 with a shot here for Jody Jensen.
This looked just like it did the last time they were on this lane. Ball just flipping at the last minute, dead flush.
Jensen bowling quickly. Not worried about the shot clock. I think she bowled it with about 24 on the shot clock, and the shot clock starts at 25. She left the 10 pin. And hurry. Ooh, yeah, it just barely got there. And the spare for Jody Jensen. Now Leila Wagner. Chance to cut the lead to 20.
All right, broke up the 7 pin, was able to knock the 7 pin out of there so she can just try to convert this spare. She was asking them about this lane, if they knew how much it was sliding across the middle to shoot at the spare.
6, 10. Certainly no gimme. Oh, yeah. She was at first saying, all right, get to the right. No, get to the left. It worked. And now Debbie Walker. Debbie with 2 solid strikes in her 2 shots in the first game. got too high.
And it appears that lane 9 is hooking more on the left side of the lane because the previous left-hander went Brooklyn actually on her shot.
Cindy Kesterson did go Brooklyn, and Debbie Walker hit high. And a good spare for Brunswick. So far for Team Brunswick, just one open frame. They lead by 30.
That guaranteed amount I mentioned for the Queens, Dave, I have to say it, first place this year for the WIBC Queens will be $22,777.
Ooh. Boy, Carolyn threw another solid shot, leaving the ringing 10.
6-pin kind of laid in the channel. It tried to slap it out.
That pesky 6-pin, huh?
Doesn't always do its job.
So a spare for dead ringers. They're hanging in there, but still trailing by 31 right now as Lynda Norry gets up. Six-time Team USA member. That's a record. Boy, is she solid.
Beautiful. She's playing deeper than a lot of the other players. In other words, farther left. She's just keeping a real tight line right in that hook area on the lane.
Last year's Team USA, Lynda Norry was on that, and they finished second in the Grand Championships of the Brunswick World Team Challenge. There's a strike for dead ringers. They're not going to go down without a fight. We'll be back with the exciting conclusion of this championship match in just a moment. 3 spares in her 3 frames.
And this is her last chance. This is the last thing she can do to help her team.
Strike here makes it a 41-pin lead heading down the stretch. Got that one in that out-of-bounds area.
This could be tough. Again, anything with the 1-2 combination, 1-2-8. She also has the 9-pin there. It's going to be hard to finish through to take out the 9.
See Team Brunswick, the regular bowling, they just dominated the competition. We're in first place throughout. And in the Baker format, not bad as well, a 183 average in Baker. Good shot here. Boy, great shot. Well, 4 spares for Marci Williams.
Beautiful spare right at it, and right down the middle.
Now she can relax for the first time all weekend. See, match play. Dead ringer surprisingly just 3-6-1. Team Brunswick 6-4 overall. And again, Brunswick leading all the way throughout. Astro Bowl, they came in and finished second. And now dead ringers trying to come back.
Remember the finish they had, Dave, on this lane earlier.
That's exactly right. That's 2 strikes in a row now, and the lead down to 21. Cindy Kesterson, she crossed over last time and crossing over again and missing the head pin.
Now see, on lane 10 on the left side, they had some hold. You could see they could actually tug into it, and the ball would sit right there and just finish. On this lane, when she tries to go at it, it hooks away.
She's got to hit the pocket now for a left-hander to try to make this spare, and didn't do it. So a costly open for Team Brunswick, and the lead is now down to just 6 pins. It was 40 once upon a time.
We could change lead here, Dave.
Yeah, a strike here gives dead ringers a 4-pin lead. Up through the nose.
She's saying nice shot. She was pretty slow on that shot. Her backswing was down quite a bit, but that's what happens when the pressure starts to get to you. going to change balls, try to get it to slide. Remember, Leila caught this on the inside, picked it up on the left side of the 3-pin.
Oh, and now a costly open for Dead Ringers, just when they were right back in the match and a chance to take the lead. An open frame. And the lead back to 21 for Team Brunswick.
Broke up a split there.
That was an adventure. Jody Denson saying, all right, no split, and then she was hoping for the strike. Really get lucky. Going quickly after the spare.
She doesn't take any time at all up there.
Well, she's done now. Here's Leila Wagner. Wagner followed by the Dorin sisters. Left for Team Brunswick, Debbie Walker and Lynda Norry.
Left to target again.
There's Debbie Walker. She's had 2 strikes and a spare in her 3 frames.
See Eleanor sitting there going, couldn't I have just picked that up?
There's the spare for Dead Ringers, but again, they still trail by 21. A chance for Debbie Walker to punch a big hole in this final match. Trying to set up the 10th.
She was high last time, Dave.
High again, but it worked. Debbie Walker saying maybe fate is on our side this time.
Trying to play the same line she did on lane 10. Can't do it on lane 9. Watch the ball hook at the back end. All the way across Brooklyn side. Trips the 4-pin.
Oh, is anyone happier than Marci right now? Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Good shot. Oh, my. That's 2 great shots. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard has thrown, I want to say, all but 1 really great shots, and that one was on the tough conditions over on lane 9.
Right, she left that 2-pin. Other than that, it's just been a matter of carry.
Absolutely. Well, now Lynda Norry looking up at that scoreboard saying, all right, what do I need? What do I need? Peter Hagen, our crack statistician, saying a mark here would shut out Dead Ringers. A mark here, and it's over. Ooh, and that mark is certainly not in the books.
She was lucky, Dave, that that 10-pin fell, because that would have been almost impossible on this condition.
Well, a 9, if she picks up one of these 2, then Dead Ringers can tie.
Right. You could strike out to tie.
Cathy Dorin hoping for that chance. Oh, we have an opportunity for Cathy Dorin with 3 straight strikes to forge a tie in a playoff.
You can't sit. Look at Carolyn standing up. I can't take it. I can't sit down. Well, I laughingly call Cathy clutch cargo on tour because when she needs them, she throws them.
And she got one in the 5th frame in this game. She needs 3 of them. Well, that one's crossing over and no chance. So Team Brunswick, they're going to do it. Marci Williams has her championship. I'm not sure she'll make it through the presentation, but congratulations to Debbie Walker, Jody Jensen, Cindy Kesterson, Lynda Norry, and Marci Williams. They are the champions. Team Brunswick, after all these times of making it to the TV finals. Well, this is the time they broke through, and they're heading to Reno. And that'll do it. Team Brunswick, they're your champions, 368 to 346. That's the final margin. We'll be back to put that crown on Marci Williams' blonde head in just a moment. The Brunswick World Team Challenge is brought to you by Brunswick. Bowling is sold on Brunswick worldwide. By Contour Power Grips, the pioneers of the finger grip industry. More pros use Contour Power Grips. You should too. By Keepsake, designer and manufacturer of championship ring awards. By Bud Light, proud sponsors of bowling. Make it a Bud Light. And by the Women's International Bowling Congress and the American Bowling Congress, providing championship service to sanctioned leagues across the United States. Make sure your league is sanctioned by the national governing bodies. Well, there you are, the winners, Team Brunswick. They won. You won.
I won.
How about that? Can you believe it?
No, I can't. We were due.
Yeah, you were. If anyone was due, Marci, it was you and your team. This is your 11th World Team Challenge, and you finally broke through. What was the difference?
Oh, just a good break here and there, and this wonderful team. Can I put together a team or what?
Yes, you can.
Yes, I can.
Finally.
Finally.
Yes, you can. Elaine, I know you have a trophy over here. Elaine Hagen's here from the
I have
WIBC.
some other things to say. First of all, it's a delight for me to be here on behalf of WIBC to congratulate you. You know the expression, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. You have now walked down the aisle to the Grand Championship. Team Brunswick. Congratulations.
Thank you, Elaine, and WIBC for all their wonderful support. Good, pretty lady.
Well, now you have a decision to make. Lynda Norry, your anchor here, is going to bowl for Team USA. How do you figure that out in Reno?
Well, we've already discussed it because we knew she couldn't bowl with us. Kim Kennedy will join us, and we've missed her today. She's always been on our team. And along that line, I'd like to thank Brunswick if I could. They've always sponsored us. Lynn Shoes did. The WIBC has been behind us, and we just think it's a wonderful event, and we're so excited.
Dan, they built a very big lead in Game 1, and that carried them through.
Yeah, it did. You guys were comfortable with the lead. You did that in qualifying also. Cindy, how much pressure was on the rest of the team just for Marci's sake?
None.
I'm not sure that's the right answer.
Well, Marci, enjoy it. You're going to Reno. You're going to Reno.
Can you believe it?
Yes, I can believe it. And congratulations. If at first you don't succeed, try again. And Team Brunswick, they're our champions here in Fort Worth. Congratulations. The next Brunswick World Team Challenge telecast is an open division event from right here at Brunswick West Creek Lanes in Fort Worth, Texas. Check your regional sports network listing for dates and times. For Jan Schmidt, this is Dave Armstrong saying so long from the Lone Star State. This has been an ABC Eagle Productions telecast.